Hello students. Now let us understand how we are going to print this pattern. Now this is a pyramid which we want to print. So if you try to see this pyramid, I have shaded it with three different colors to make you understand there are three different triangles which we want to print on the screen. The triangle in blue color, it is inverted right angle triangle. That means when I am in the first line, I have to first leave some spaces and then print 1. When I'll come in the second line, I'll again leave some spaces, then print some 3 numbers, then again 3, 4, 5. So in each row there are some spaces followed by some numbers. Now in the numbers also I have uh, shown it with two different colors. So the number in this light colors is a right angle triangle, but we'll say this is left, it is on the left side and this triangle is on the right side. So one is this triangle and another is this triangle. So let us call this as left triangle and this is right triangle which we have to print. So three things I have to print in each line. In say for example, take this line I is equals to 3. So I need to print two spaces followed by 3 digits in the first triangle and 2 digits in the second triangle in this way. Next you will come to the second line, you will print some blank spaces, then some numbers and again some numbers. So in each line you are printing something. Now we know that in every line or we have to apply a main for loop that will be going for the number of lines. So I'll be having here main for loop for number of lines because I have total 5 lines here. So say n is equals to 5 here. So n, I'm starting with 1. And in all, inside this you will you will be writing 3 for loops. There will be total 3 for loops. Right? So you understood what we are doing here is, first we are writing a for loop which is for the number of rows, and then 3 for loops. One for this is for space, this is for say left triangle, and say this is for right triangle. Right? So 3 for loops you will have to write. So you will have to write the logic for these 3 triangles. Now try to understand about this for loop space. Now here if you see, if I try to write a logic for space, now when your I is 1, how many spaces are there? Total 4 spaces. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. So there are total 4 spaces. How did it come? And n is equals to 5 here, right? Then next is I is equals to 2. So how many spaces are there? Spaces are 3. Yes, 1, 2, 3. The total spaces, and n is 5 here. So you have to find out the relationship between the spaces, number of lines and the iteration of. So in every value of I, the j travels for these many spaces, or j travels for these many times to print the spaces. So if you see here, value of n minus value of I will give you space. So basically here the logic is n minus I. That means your j means if you are going to write it for j starts from 1, as it is starting from 1, column 1, but it goes till the number of n minus I, which says that n minus I spaces, right? So print n minus I. So your j is basically going for n minus I spaces, and every time j is incrementing. So this is what you will be writing about the spaces. So this is semicolon. Fine. So j is equals to 1, j is less than equals to number I, j plus plus, right? And in this way you will print spaces. Now I will not tell you the logic behind space, or I'll just write here for example. So here you need to write space. That's it, right? So you need to give spaces. That's it. This is one for loop which gives me spaces, followed by, now I've come to the second part, that is the second triangle. That means now there should be second for loop which prints this triangle. So how are you going to write that? So now if you see here, now this is logic for the blue spaces. So I'll just write it. Now next is I want to print logic for the left triangle. So logic for left triangle. Okay. Now logic for left triangle, how are you going to find out? Now whenever say I is, now check for I is equals to 1. So your J starts with what? J executes for 1. Right? So J is executing for 1. Now say I is 2. So your J, that means number of columns are 2. So your J is 1 and 2. When I is 3, J runs for 1, 2, 3. Right? 1, 2, 3. That means 3 columns. Similarly, when I is 4, J runs for 1, 2, 3, 4 in this way. Right? So, and the value that is printed, value printed. So, for example, when I is 1, J is 1, the value is printed is I only. That means 1 only. Now, both the values are 1. So, which value it is taking to play? Go and check for the second. When I is 2, J runs for 2 times and the value that is printed is 2. But then if you see here, it prints 2. But then it prints 3. That means it goes in reverse order. Right? So your I is 2. So I is printed, but then it is incremented also. Go to third line. Value is equals to 3. I is 3 now. Right? I is 3. So it is running for 3 times. And value is 3, 4, 5. So now if you see, every time it is taking the value of I, but it is also incrementing that value of I. So what you can do for this logic, and this is the logic for this light color, I'll show you. Okay. So for this logic, right? So here what you can do is, you can use one variable k which can be initialized to I, and then you can print this value in the second for loop. So %d k, and because it is every time incremented, you can write k plus plus in the second for loop here inside the second for loop to print this value. So if it is 2, it will get printed, and second time it will be 3. And here you should know that how to vary I. I varies from 1 to 4 and J varies from 1 till the value of I. Right? So if I is 1, J is running till 1. If I is 2, J starts with 1 but runs till 2. If I is 3, J starts with 1, runs till 3, in this way. Now this is done. Now coming to this part. Now this part is little tedious, but now if you see here, when I is 1, there is nothing printed on the screen. But when I is 2, a single letter is printed on the screen. When I is 3, 2 values printed. When I is 4, 3 1. So now if I try to write the logic for this, it is when I is 1, J is 0. When I is 2, J is 1. When I is 3, it is going for 2 times. So 1, 2 times it is going. Right? When I is 4, J goes for 1, 2, 3. So on. That means first time you have to start your loop in such a way that it doesn't go inside the J. Right? That means your I is going till 1 to 5, but J starts from 0, but it doesn't executes for the first time. And second time it goes continuously. And now how will you take this value? What value it is printing? So now you have to consider that value from the previous k value. If you see your previous value, that was 3. Right? So if you use this k value and every time it is incrementing, so 2, after that 3, after that it is 4. But instead of 4, I am getting 2. If you see this 5 have become 5 has become 6, and now it is incremented to, now it is 6, but now it is printing 4. That means every time the value that was received by the previous k value, so if previous k value minus 2, it is happening, right? So if you see I is equals to 2, so previous k value was 3, and in that case the previous k value will, every time it is post incrementing, so now the value is 4, so previous k value is 4, 4 minus 2 will be 2, so that is printed. Similarly here, here I is 3 for example, so let us come to 3 part 5. Now it is post increment, so k has become 6, and because we have to print it here, so it becomes 6 minus 4, 6 minus 2, that will be 4. So in this it has to print 4. So this part you have to apply this logic. Sorry, for this part you have to apply this logic. So please try, because these are the 3 for loops inside the main for loop, nested for loop, that will help you to generate these 3 patterns. Try doing it, because it is bit simple. You just have to understand that where you can initialize this k value. So this is I, small letters, and this is the main for loop. Inside there are 3 for loop. Space I have already given you the logic for space. This is, now you need to write the logic for left triangle, this one, and the right triangle, this one. So I have given you the value of j, how it varies. So you need to understand that how you're going to put this value. So you just have to print this value inside the for loop by giving the variations. So now I have given you the variations also, I mean the values of j also, how the values of j are changing, and here also how the values are changing. So please try it and see.